Okay, let's see. God damn, bruh. Why are you looking at me like this? Okay, so this is gonna be the second part of the second video about how can you actually start learning a language by yourself without, any other extra teachers or giving money for any teachers. Simply you and the language. That will be it. Um, well, in the first video, I talked about how, at 21 years old, I speak 5 languages fluently. I think I have enough experience for me to talk about how can you learn a language better. So without further ado, we're just gonna start with the basics. And as far as I know, I have 7 steps written on my script, but I don't have my glasses on, so I will not read the script and I will tell you exactly how is it in my head and the most important things. Firstly, you pick the top 100 words that I mostly use in the given language that you're trying to learn. Secondly, you're gonna take 20 to 30 verbs that are used, daily or generally are used the most. You take those 2 things, right? You write them down, you learn them. Okay, that's good. Third thing, you take words, expressions, and sentences that you personally use throughout the day the most. You, because you know what you say the most. I know what I say the most. You know what you say the most throughout the day. So you have to take those sentences and firstly understand them in the language that you're trying to learn. Understand them, and just learn them, bro. When you know everything that you have to use throughout the day, the most used common words, the most used common verbs, the most used sentences and expressions that you personally use, that define you, that you are more likely to say. Then you take all of this, you know, and you start creating conversations. That's actually what I started doing when I was learning German in order to come here to Germany and start studying, in a German university. When I was showering, right, I would start. It was like fucking A2 B1 level. Like if you don't know, there's like A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1 and C2. But C2 is kind of for the native speakers, so the highest you can get is like C1. When I was like A2 B1, right, I would when I was showering, I would just speak to myself. It kind of sounds dumb, like I have a fucking mental disorder, whatever. However, it helped me so fucking much, bro. You don't even understand, bro. Like you just sitting in a shower, right, and talking to yourself in the given language, and you just having a conversation. Like how are you doing? I'm doing good. How about you? I'm doing good too. Whatever, right? In the given language. If it's fucking Mandarin, to do it in Mandarin. I don't know fucking Mandarin. Yeah, start creating conversations in your own head, bruv. In your own head, and get comfortable with using the vowels, of that language. Because in every given language, right, you have different combinations of sounds, vowels, whatever, and you get used to them. You get used to using them and also hearing them yourself, which is the most important thing. You start conversing, and okay, after all of that, right, um also what you have to be doing while you're getting to learn all the common phrases, common words, common verbs, right, you start creating simple sentences, the simplest ones, as the ones that a child would say, like the most, I like an apple. But if you really do like apples and you want to say it in the given language, then learn, okay, what is to like, what's the verb to like. Okay, I know the verb to like. Let's say in Spanish it's gustar, me gusta, te gustas, whatever, right? And you use the same thing 10 times and you create different sentences. When you're using them, you actually learn, you actually understand, okay, how can I use this fucking word, how can I say this fucking sentence, bruv. That's the whole point. You don't need a fucking teacher for that. You don't need it, bruv. If you just take time and create an environment, bruv. Create a fucking environment where you can actually see, read, listen to the language. You will succeed in learning that language. It's so fucking basic, and so many people don't really talk about it. Use the most common words, use the most common words in the language, and the ones you say, learn the most basic and most important verbs so you can actually create sentences that involve, you know, verbs, adjectives, and not nouns. um, Especially the ones you use the most. If you say "go fuck yourself," right? If you say it often, and it's kind of like part of you, hey, go fuck yourself, right? Go fuck yourself, yeah. Learn the same thing in a given language, and you will be the same you, which is kind of contradictory because learning a new language changes your personality, but not exactly you as a whole, right? You stay you, but you get a new feature to your own personality, if you get what I mean, right? But you will only understand this if you go through the process. If you're speaking one language, bro, you will never understand what I'm talking about. I think in five different languages. Not at any given time, but like most of the time I speak like I think like maybe in two or three languages. Like, go fuck yourself. Maybe in like two or three languages, right? But it's still a mental exercise, a mental juggling thing. You know, you're going back and forth, with different languages, bruv. If you only can speak one, you will not understand. But if you start learning a new one, you will notice some changes about you, your personality, and the way you approach life or you look at life. Because you have to understand, every language has been developing for years in a given folk, in a given region with different people. If you learn Spanish, right, like it was in my case. Right now, I'm not learning because I have different things, more interesting things to do right now. However, if I decide to come back to Spanish, I have a fucking system. I know what to do. The, why am I looking at the? Oh man, I'm looking all the time at this like green fucking like. You see this, right? You see this? This is a fucking green thing. Here is also green thing, right? And I'm always looking at this instead of looking at you, my viewer. And most probably there isn't a viewer because this probably is gonna not get any fucking views. Whatever. I'm just doing me. I'm just trying to do the best I can, which is create something, right? Yeah. Coming back to the folks, right? In a given region, the language those people speak has been developing with with those people. The way those people live, the way those people look at life will kind of show itself in the language. If you imagine Germans being very concrete and very like, straight to the thing, like without beating around the bush. If you really think of them that way, you will see that the language also describes, the language also resembles that concreteness, that rigidity, if you think about it. If you learn Spanish, let's say, which was in my case, when I was learning Spanish, I got that. I would feel kind of like, I would feel lighter. I would feel kind of, I would see more sunshines in my fucking, you know, in my life. Like, life kind of gets better. You get that warmth, that, you know, that chilly feeling just because you're learning Spanish and you speak to, let's say, in my case, I would speak to Latinos, and we all know Latinos are like fucking crazy and they're like all chill, they're like always on the fucking go, always like happy, as was at least it was in my case, right? So I would get the same vibe from them, and I would take that feeling for me, and it would develop my personality into a different fucking direction. Yes. Okay. Recap. Recap. You take the top 100 most used common words. You take 20 to 30 most used common verbs. You take um, all the words that you personally use the most, because every person uses different words throughout the day. You know, find the words, expressions, and sentences that are constantly being used in your dictionary every fucking day, bruv. If you say fuck, learn the same word in the other language, right? And use it. Okay, then you start creating easy sentences, like fucking basic sentences, and you you have to correct them, right? Go to Google Translate, go to any other, language translating app, right? And type the same sentence in there and look if the sentence actually means what you are trying to say. Correct those sentences and you will know, okay, you have the confidence to actually create sentences firstly and you use them. Then, after writing sentences and actually getting to understand words and sentences better in the given language, right? You start creating imaginary conversations in your own head. It's more for the mentally ill type of people like me. I'm just kidding. No. Or, I mean, if you're alone, you don't have any people, talk to yourself, bruv. You're your best friend. I'm my best friend. Well, at least I try to be. You will help yourself better because you know what you want to talk about. You create simple conversations. How you doing? Yeah, good. This is a dog. Very good. Go fuck yourself. Shit like this, right? I would do the same thing in German. Um, and then you just go through the conversation. You get used to the language. Then you find a native speaker. You talk to him, and you do as many mistakes as possible. As many, bruv. Like, go balls deep into this shit, bruv. Like, if you make mistakes, you know, it's okay. At least you're learning something. That's why you do mistakes. Mistakes are good. Not all of them, but most of them are good if you are learning something. So, you talk to the native speaker, and he or she will correct you, and you will learn more. So, these are the steps that you will have to go through again, 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 and again, 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 until you actually understand. These are the most important, things that you have to do in order to learn language by yourself. And I'm gonna give you bonus tips how you can, like, firstly make the process go faster and also make it more enjoyable, I would say. The bonus tip is curate your environment. Your environment is the only thing that is going to actually help you. Let's say, like, i am trying I'm trying to draw more, right? So I got my canvas right here. I can do nothing to this bitch for 2 weeks, but just because this thing is in front of my eyes, someday, sooner or later, I will start, creating more fucking pictures, right? Although these look shit, but still, it's about doing the thing, learning the thing, and actually going through the process. Curate your environment because your environment will help you definitely. Let's say if you make your environment in a way that you see the language, let's say you read something, right? News, any like articles about anything, whatever, in the given language, you will get used to the language faster. If you listen to music, you will get used to the language faster just because it's in your environment. We as human beings are created in a way that we adapt to the environment, you know, in a given time frame. It can be a longer time frame or a smaller time frame. Depends on what kind of environmental change occurred in your life, right? So if we're talking about something like languages, it's not a like a huge environmental change unless you're in a completely different fucking country where you don't know the language, which will actually make it way more faster because you are under pressure and you have stress, and it will make you it will make you cognitively way more faster, bro. Way more faster, believe me, just because of stress. If you don't have this stress, which is also okay, but it would be preferable to have that kind of stress in your life, just make your environment in a way where you see, read, listen to the language, or and speak the language, as much as possible. If you can listen to some songs, you watch some YouTube videos, watch some movies maybe in the given language, it will make the process even faster. My god, goodness gracious, I can't even fucking hold this camera straight, bruv. So yeah, that would be it. Take what you have on the internet, take the most common words, most common verbs, the verbs and words that you use the most, translate them, and start creating sentences that would describe you the best, the way you speak. Only you know, how you speak. So only you know which words you're gonna use the most. Start creating, start practicing, because these sentences are just way of practicing, right? If you're just doing the work, right? Yes. Don't wish things were easier, wish you were better.